Throughout history, no, I'm joking. Model agents have scoured the earth, looking for beautiful beings fit for glamorous globetrotting. They struck gold, finding 3 young women with 3 specific backgrounds who cemented supermodel legacies even after the industry tried to dethrone the supermodel.
The Brazilian wave.
Let's go back to the 90s where supermodels ran the world. Let's say 1995, 96. Grunge took over. Anti-capitalism, non-glamour.
I mean, the 90s was about sort of alt culture. It was about not buying anything. Super thrift store, anti-consumerist, it was about not caring and looking like you didn't care.
We began to see the Kate Moss, very skinny, heroin chic, until Giselle. She was the catalyst for bringing curve back to the industry. It was the spring 1998 Alexander McQueen show that changed her life. The crazy thing about that Alexander McQueen show is that it almost made Giselle quit. I was a good girl. I was a tomboy. I was someone whose big breasts had embarrassed her since she hit puberty. I was a girl gripped by the fear that my family would feel so embarrassed they would never speak to me again. I was terrified. We've always heard this thing, thinness on the runway. Bodies should be like hangering, it shouldn't cling. Giselle was able to move that. So they went full charge into Brazil.
Posso falar com você rapidinho? Tudo bem? Você já fez algum teste com modelo? Ela é alta, magra, tem o cabelo castanho.
Could Diego really find another supermodel just roaming the streets? Or is everyone here, including the scouts, under the spell of a Giselle-fueled fantasy?
Então ela tem biotipo de face que a gente procuraria.
Looking for these really gorgeous, bronzy, sun-drenched. We got girls like
Adriana Lima, Bruna Tenorio, Isabelle Fontana, Raquel Zimmerman, Alessandra Ambrosio, Anna Beatriz Barros.
Do you remember? Were you there? Even though that time has passed, I feel like the industry hangs on this thing where they say they're being diverse. But is it diverse when they all kind of look the same? They fit a certain mold.
O jeito que eu procuro a genética de cada cidade, na maior parte.
I researched the genetic makeup of the city on the internet, and we have a book about the South that tells us the history of each city and how it was colonized.
Por isso que a gente prefere isso.
We like smaller towns with Italian and German lineage, with people that live and work in the field and villages. This helps keep the genetic makeup more concentrated.
But I digress.
The Eastern European wave.
The fall of the Iron Curtain was basically the fall of communism. A lot of leaders of Eastern European countries, or the Eastern Bloc, they wanted to make it seem as if there was a communist paradise that they were in. Like there was no other outside views, nothing kind of adulterating what they've created. Prior to this, travel was extremely limited, in and out. When the fall happened, model scouts started to go into the countries, and they started to scout for models there because it was more available to them. Let us talk about Natalia Vodianova, one of the girls that was credited for pushing the Eastern European wave. She literally escaped poverty and became a millionaire solely off of her career.
All the girls had to line up in wearing this, mini skirts and very skimpy clothes. I refused to stand in the line. You can imagine. I kind of just stood in the corner, and then someone came up to me and took my picture.
In the 2000s, when a lot of the Eastern European girls came into play, there was a whiteout happening and a uniformity of models happening. It's almost like bittersweet for me because it's like the erasure happened of black models, but at the same time, during that whiteout, we got talent that we talking about influential, we talking about
Carmen Cass, Colette Peshikanova, Eugenia Volodina, Natasha Poli, Sasha Pivovarova, Vlada Rosliakova.
They do, so I heard Musha Prada was the reason for the whiteout, or she was the beginning of it. Calvin Klein as well. And what happened was they wanted their clothes to speak more than the model. Previously, it was the model that was doing a lot of the speaking, right? They had the power, they were on TV. The runway slowly became devoid of difference.
The South Sudanese wave.
The South Sudanese girlies, this is definitely a wave that you will hear of in the future. I promise you. These are the it girls right now.
Adult Akash, Nyajola Gabriel, Rejoice Shaw, Anok Yai, Mary Kate, Awar Otian.
I mean, it's kind of sad, but like, the industry has never been this diverse before. The South Sudanese woman is inexplicable. How all y'all pretty? Men, women, babies. Like, God had his favorites? I feel away. God, look, somebody, if you are Sudanese and you're watching this video, do me a favor. Just give us a course on Sudanese or South Sudanese names down below. On the flip side, like, there are questions that I have about the waves, right? Not to get negative, but also just being open to it all. I don't know what it is about fashion, but there's this hyper focus on something. Fashion is always like trends in some sort of way, right? There's clothing trends and there's also like model trends. The 2000s with the whiteout wiped out all the color from the runway. You can argue that the South Sudanese wave has to do with exoticism. Fashion sometimes sees things from a narrow lens, especially when it comes to models, black models, models of color. They are looked at as, ooh. Many people say that the Western perspective, when it comes from media, whatever, is very closed. You have to think the people and the powers that be and gatekeepers in the industry, and we're not gonna play dumb here, they don't see the world as it should be everybody. And that's just real. But now I wonder what's next.
I see the industry definitely evolving for all body types, but I feel it's gonna take a while. It's not gonna happen overnight, and I think the way for it to really happen is to see the bigger brands incorporating different sizes into their line.
Maybe, just maybe, the industry will ditch the idea of selling monolithic perceptions of beauty.
So about the role models, I think it's easier for me to like have representation that like girl that looks like me, because obviously I have you. You're like me, like my sister, so yeah.
You don't like, really feel like it, but when you grow up,
like
actually
for
it
confidence, like
yeah, confidence. Like you see someone like you evolving in society, whatever like thing they do, but you just see them and oh, okay, I can do it, you know?
And push inclusivity for real this time. I don't know, what do you think?